So up until now, we've been solving one-step equations and inequalities. When you do something to both sides, that counts as one step. Now there's going to be two steps. 11.6. So the perimeter of a triangle is 25 inches. Write and solve an equation. Okay, to find the missing length. The length, this time instead of L, which I had done before, I wrote X, but right. So it's the missing length X plus 7 equals 25. We can add the 7s, and we get X plus 14 equals 25. Now, we solve that. We could do it in our head, but let's just remind ourselves how to solve an equation. You subtract 14 from both sides, and the missing length here looks like it's 11 inches. Now, the county fair charges $3 per ride. There's our unit rate, our constant proportionality. If you have at most $21, write and solve an inequality to find the most rides you could go on. So we're using R. The unit rate is our coefficient of R, right in front of R, multiplying R. At most, at less than or equal to 21. We divide both sides by 3. We solve this inequality. At most, I can go on is 7 rides. So now notice we have this extra adding or subtracting, or an extra multiplying or dividing. In each one, we have two steps. There's two things happening to X or K. In the one with X here, X is being divided by 5, and we're subtracting 7 from that. In the one with K, the green one, we're multiplying K by 3 and we're subtracting 7 from that. Well, how do you write and solve in two-step equations and inequalities is the next few lessons. All right, so we got to make sure we know what a two-step equation always looks like. It has three terms: a variable term with a variable, a letter, and a coefficient, and two constants. So underline the coefficient. The coefficient is always the number that is multiplying our variable, our X. So we're underlying the coefficient. Now the other two numbers are always called constants, but we care about the constant that's on the same side of the equal sign that X is on. So we're going to circle that, and we're going to circle 2. All right, so the coefficient is 3, the constant on the same side is 2. All right, so what's the coefficient this time? Coefficient is 5. It's the number multiplying our variable. What's the constant on the same side? It's 8. What's the coefficient this time? This time it's -7, right? That's -7 times X. What's the constant on the same side? 2. We're adding 2. So if X goes to the right side, so does the coefficient, and so does the constant with us. The 58, there is a constant. It's just not on the same side as X. What's the coefficient this time? Yes, the coefficient can be a fraction. Oops, I said underline the coefficient, my fault. And we're circling now, we're subtracting 6, but the constant there is 6. All right, so, right, we had a proportional equation, y equals k times x. Now we're adding a constant to it. So let's turn some words into math. Let's write an equation. A car travels 50 miles per hour for 8 hours. Just like always, that is our unit rate. The unit rate is our K, our constant of proportionality, except now it's not a constant of proportionality because this is not proportional. It has this extra little bit, but the unit rate still goes in the same place. Okay, if the car has already traveled 125 miles, this is the constant part, right? That's already happened. Right? Write an equation. We'll have inequalities later, but an equation is equal sign. And how long will it take to go 375 miles? There's our total. Now this is over here, but it's the same thing, right? It's 50 times the number of hours, right? If you drive for 1 hour, you'll go 50 more miles, but you've already gone 125, so you're not at 375 yet, right? If you go 2 hours, 2 times 50 is 100, 100 plus 120, right? You're not there yet. Now we're going to solve these on a different day. We're just going to turn the words into math today. So that's the answer. Write an equation. 50h plus 125 equals 3075. That's what I want them to look like. They're all going to look like that. Right? Apples cost $2.40 per pound at the local price club. If you don't know Costco, Sam's Club, they have a membership fee. I've said it's $50. I think it's more now. So it's $2.40 that I said that wrong, I think, per pound. It says use P for pound. So there's our unit rate. That's our coefficient. But we have a membership fee we have to add to the cost. So we want to know, it's an equation. How many pounds of apples did we buy if we spent 50? It's our first time there. So our first time there, we're going to spend the $50 to get in. And if all we do is buy apples, which no one does, but if all we're going to do is buy apples and we spend $58, we could solve that to figure out how many pounds of apples we bought. 2.4 for each pound. Now notice I got rid of this extra zero there. Yeah, I don't like extra zeros because you're actually going to be dividing by 2.4 at some point. All right, Sam bought 6 pens for an unknown price. All right, so what's the price of the pens? The pens are X, so it's going to be 6X, right? 6 times the price of the pens. If he spent a total of $31.50, write an equation to find the cost. Now, but he also bought a backpack and a notebook. Well, we know what the backpack costs. It costs $24. We know what the notebook costs. It costs $3. And he spent a total of $31.50. So I'm going to clean this up. 24 plus 3 is 27. And that's the two-step equation, right? So I want you to write a two-step equation. So if you have something like 24 plus 3, clean it up and make that 27. Right, so two sides of a rectangle are both 4 inches, so that's these sides. Then we have some missing lengths here. If the perimeter is 30 inches, write a two-step equation. So that means it has to look like all the others once you're done. So perimeter, add up the sides. So we have a length that's missing, another length that's missing. We have a 4 and a 4, and all that has to add up to 30. But this doesn't look like the others. So 4 plus 4 is 8. What is L plus L? Well, we've talked about this. What X plus X? What's X plus X? L plus L is 2L. Does that look like all the others now? 2 times the missing length plus 8 will equal our perimeter. Yes. Student council raised no more than, all right, so no equation anymore. We're doing inequalities. No more than 150. That's less than or equal to 150 during a charity dance. They charge $3 per ticket. There's our unit rate. Are we using T for tickets? Yep. But we already received $24. We already received $24. Now, this is almost always going to be plus. It's really hard to make that a minus. Okay, so that's almost always plus. So 3 times the amount of tickets plus the $24 we already received will tell us how much we raised. And we raised no more than $150, $150 or less. That's our inequality. All right, so here's where it is a subtraction. It's hard to write them though. Very few are like that. Darren sold 5 paintings each for an unknown price. So it's 5 times P, 5 times the price. And he spent $12.50 on supplies. Now let's see, profit is what you sell it for minus the cost. So this is where our minus is coming in, right? And that gets us our profit. So we sold 5 paintings for P, but we spent $12.50, so it's minus 12.5. And so we're writing an equation. It says equation. That's where you have a minus. The only ones I'm going to have are for profit, because what you sell it for minus the cost is the profit. And on these, similarly, the 5 here is not the unit rate. It turns out what you're doing here is you're finding the unit rate. Price is the unit rate. So let's practice. What is the constant on the same side as X? Here it's 13, here it's 3. Right? The coefficient on the one on the left is 6, the one on the right is 2, but the constant on the same side of X moves with X. A sunflower grows at a rate of 1/4 per week. That sounds like a unit rate. When it was planted in the ground, it was 2 feet tall. If the sunflower is currently 5 feet tall, write a two-step equation to determine the age in weeks of the flower. So it's 1/2 foot per week, but it was already 2 feet tall when it was planted. It's currently 5 feet tall. And so that is our 2. There is our constant on the same side as W. There's our rate multiplying W. Yeah, over here goes the total, or current in this case. Same thing, it's currently totaled 5 feet. The county fair charges 50 cents per ride and $10 to get in. So it's 50 cents per ride, R for rides, but I'm going to get rid of that 0, and I'm not going to put any dollar signs or anything in my equation, 0.5 R. But there's an entrance fee that has to be added to our costs now. Right? We have exactly $32. That's our two-step equation. So we're writing a two-step equation here, and so it's length plus 9 plus 9 equals, the perimeter is 50, right? The four sides have to add up to 50. It says write a two-step. That's not a two-step. A two-step always looks like this. L plus L is 2L. 2L plus 50, 18 equals 50 is our two-step equation. As a salesman, you are paid $50 per week plus $3 per set. Whoa, wait a minute. There are two rates in this problem. This seems confusing. This week, you want your pay to be no less than $100, right? Oh, no, that's no less than is greater than or equal to 100, not less than, greater than or equal to 100. All right, so that should have been the easy part. Now, write an inequality for the number of sales, and this is the key. We're finding sales. So the rate that you use here as your coefficient that multiplies S is the one that goes with sales. Which one is that? It's the 3. Yeah, because you're getting $50 per week plus how much you do in sales. So it's 3S, and I hate using S, but I said use S here because it looks like 5. 3S plus 50 is greater than or equal to 100. So anytime you get two rates in a problem, that's someone trying to be tricky, and so I want to make sure you see this. It's the rate that goes with sales. If we're trying to find something per week, then the 50 becomes the coefficient, the number multiplying the W in that case. Larry needs at least 75 points on his final exam to pass his science course. He received 43 points on the first half. Okay, so here he's already got 43 points. He's got a constant. He wants to get at least 75, right? We talked about this. He doesn't want to get exactly 75 points. He wants to get 75 or more. And the rate here is 2 points per question. So it's 2Q plus 43 is greater than or equal to 75.